Feel free to check out my TeePublic after the video, and support me on Patreon. Watch till the end of the video for more. This review was possible thanks to my wonderful patrons. If you'd like to show your support for this channel, then you can go do so on Patreon. Don't forget to purchase your own Wings of Love t-shirt in honor of actor Haruma Mira. All proceeds and donations will go to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. If the fundraiser does not reach 50 donations by August 28th, then no donation is made at all. So please, click the link in the description to support this cause. And now my regularly scheduled torment. What is up, everybody? What it be? What it do? Coming to you with another this. I know there's been a lot of plugging in this video already, but before we really get started, I just want to let y'all know that the channel has a Discord server put together by myself and fellow Patreon supporter, the Bonus Commentary Podcast. So if you want to hop on in, say what's up, relax, chill, talk, all that good stuff, then click the link in the description. Shin Kamen Rider Prologue is a 1992 film directed by Makoto Tsuji, whose prior works included episodes for Kamen Rider Black and Kamen Rider Black RX, which would eventually wound up being the show Saban would use for Masked Rider, along with clips from Zeto. This movie was also part of Toei's V Cinema lineup. What is V Cinema, you ask? It's an industry of direct-to-video products that was trademarked by Toei. And because V Cinema was a separate entity from the Japanese media industry, it allowed for lots of creative freedom, with very little concern about censorship or studio interference, much like how anime OVAs were treated and handled. And Shin Kamen Rider would be Toei's first V Cinema feature from their famous Kamen Rider franchise. You may have noticed that for this Patreon goal, I decided to go backwards, and that was intentional because I feel Kamen Rider Zeto and J would be a more proper introduction to Kamen Rider for those who are not so familiar with it. That and they're already masterful, kick-ass pieces of Tokusatsu, so why not? Though I'm sure people would have stumbled upon this film anyway, so might as well cover it. After all, it is commonly grouped with Zeto and J, and from what I've seen, this grouping is sometimes referred to as the Proto-Heisei trilogy, as it marks the beginning of a brand new generation of Kamen Rider, but just not to the extent of Kamen Rider Kuga, the first Heisei Rider show. And what a standard they set for this first outing. Brace yourselves, people, because things are about to get pretty underwhelming. So the movie starts off with a humanoid insect creature going around on a killing spree, for some reason. We then cut to a hospital where we see our main character Wait, what? Did she just type in the name of the movie as part of the title sequence? What made her go to a computer and type Masked Rider? She was just taking this dude's blood pressure. What, is she gonna take someone's temperature and say, "Oh wow, Encino Man, here's your Mummy Returns, and be sure to George of the Jungle if you're still experiencing any journey to the center of the earth after a few bedazzled, then we can schedule another blast from the past." By the way, did I mention that this movie is also the 20th anniversary celebration for Kamen Rider? Oh yeah, and there's a Shotsuro Ishinomori cameo. Cool, I guess. So basically, geneticists are researching ways to prevent the human body from contracting diseases like AIDS or cancer by performing experiments on the human body. The subject being Shin Kazumatsuri, the son of the man leading this project. However, little do they know that this project is being funded by a syndicate group that plots to use the research to create cyber-enhanced soldiers. But, however, one of the scientists has been experimenting with grasshopper DNA for the project because, get this, grasshoppers hold the key to human evolution because they are essentially higher functioning creatures than humans, and the filmmakers needed an excuse for such an awesome transformation sequence and rider design, which I'll get to later. And it's also revealed that this scientist, by the name of Onizuka, used grasshopper DNA when experimenting with Shin as well as himself in secret, and that he was the creature from the beginning of the movie. And this means that Shin can transform into this type of creature as well. Shin eventually meets up with a woman who tries to inform him of the corruption that lurks within the human grasshopper evolution project thingamabob, whatever it is. But they're interrupted by a cyborg of sorts, and after they escape, Shin uses his power as Kamen goes for a swim. And takes a shower, and has an angsty moment with his friends over stuff he didn't even do, and takes another shower, and swims again, but naked and with his girlfriend. 20th anniversary celebration, people. Then everyone starts to realize that the totally not obvious villainous syndicate that's funding the project is actually an obvious villainous syndicate, and knowing this, Shin uses his hidden special powers as he becomes Kamen, sneaking around a room full of grasshoppers. Then finally, Shin decides to go after the syndicate and transforms into the powerful, horrifying Kamen Rider, and my god, this is an awesome transformation sequence. I highly recommend watching the scene on its own because it's another case of how Tokusatsu can be pulled off in extraordinary ways. Reminds me of Guyver, which I'm sure was a big influence for this movie. And basically the rest of the movie is Shin trying to take down the syndicate, as the finale consists of him trying to save his girlfriend Ai, as she is apparently pregnant with Shin's child. Oh my goodness! Oh my god, what the f is that? That is terrifying. I did not have to see that. Why did I have to see that? What the f? Why would you do that? I don't think I'll ever recover from witnessing this. I need to watch something else quick now. Oh my god, that's so much better. Anyway, Shin Kamen Rider Prologue is a very misguided film. The writing just feels all over the place, which makes it one of the only factors that makes it an absolute drag to endure. Along with the bland, cardboard cutout characters with no personality to them whatsoever, and the lazy, sometimes ridiculous and unintentionally hilarious acting, coupled with dialogue that just feels so stretched out and inflated. Everyone always feels the need to make a dramatic pause during the middle of a sentence, and it's pretty annoying and tiresome. And honestly, the creature designs in this movie are actually really cool looking, except for that f***ing thing, as they're designed by the fantastic Keita Mamiya, as far as I can tell. I adore the whole underground transmutated aesthetic they pull off extremely well, and it's no wonder why these designs would continue to appear in other Kamen Rider media. But sadly, those things are not enough to save this movie whatsoever. There is a pretty excessive amount of violence in Shin Kamen Rider, and while it looks fine for what is essentially a low-budget production, it just becomes overkill to the point where it's just ridiculous and has very little effect at all. Also, there is no excuse for this, and the action is just not good. Like, there's some good stunt work here and there, emphasis on some, but the fight choreography is nowhere near convincing, and the wire work can just look plain silly. And on top of it, variations of the same sound effect are repeated over and over in these action scenes, making it even less impactful, and the sound design is already inconsistent at times. But hey, could always be worse. In conclusion, just don't bother with this movie. Just watch the transformation scene on YouTube and you're good. But did you guys know that this review was made possible thanks to my wonderful patrons? Again, thank you guys once more for your support. It truly means a lot. And if any of you would like to support me, then you can go do so on Patreon, where you can also get early access to videos, exclusive content, and a t-shirt of your choice from my TeePublic. And speaking of which, I actually have some Kamen Rider designs over at my TeePublic, so if you love yourself some Kamen Rider, definitely consider picking those up. And once I reach enough patrons, I'll review the hit anime Neon Genesis Evangelion, so if you'd like to see that, then you can go support me on Patreon, especially if you want to see your name here. I mean, come on, don't you want to know what I think of one of the most iconic anime of all time? Other than that, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is TitanGoji, wondering why the hell this is on Toei's official YouTube channel and not Zeto and Jay.